say? What you say? What you say? Oh, that you only meant well, 'cause you did.
What the fuck is up, gamers? Welcome to the new podcast, the new Noise Space podcast.
Welcome to the OC, bitch.
Welcome to the OC, bitch. Wow, that was right in front of me, and I didn't even grab it. We are back with our new podcast. Whether you listen to City Girls Make Do or not, we're changing it up. We're switching coasts. We're on the West Coast now, bitches. California, Here we come. We are county girls now.
Yes, we have got blonde highlights in our hair. We're wearing bikinis. We started surfing. We're in a new fucking vibe. We're teenagers now. Instead of being, I like how we went from like, okay, well, let's analyze the lifestyles of these women in their mid-30s to like, okay, yeah, now we're teenagers. Absolutely refuse to talk about anyone our own age.
No, well, I mean, we're teenagers, but it's kind of like the Riverdale thing of like, we're teenagers, but we're like 25.
Like, I think, like, I was watching it and I was like, okay. And when Sandy's like, oh, he's just a kid, I'm like, he's like 18, but I guess he's meant to be like 16. Yeah. But everyone is.
Yeah, and like I watch Riverdale and I can suspend my disbelief enough when like to think, okay, yes, Lily Reinhart could be a 18-year-old. Sure, I can believe this, even though she's like 24 or 25 or something like that. I do find it a bit hard to believe that Adam Brody is supposed to be like a 17-year-old or however old he is in the show.
He is 26. Like, yeah. I mean, I don't know. You can argue the ethics of casting teenagers all you like, but like for the show, it makes sense. They're fucking doing cocaine at one point, and I'm like, yeah, you can't have teenagers do this. But we need to have
I'm fine with it,
and they need to be kind of sexy, you know, for the show to work. So whatever, I'm fine with it. Like honestly, one of my favorite like subgenres is sexy teen drama. Like the OC or One Tree Hill or Gossip Girl. I live for that shit. I can't get enough of it.
Yeah. No, fully. Like, this is why Riverdale is like my favorite show on TV right now. It's literally just because I love over-heightened teen drama where the drama is just so beyond what the fuck you would ever see when you were a teenager. Like, literally none of this would ever happen to me. And it's not even just because they're rich in the OC. It's just, part of it is because they're rich, but part of it is also just like, it's so over the top to be TV drama. And I just love it. I just eat it up.
Yeah. Like, I was a big watcher of Skins as a teenager.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, this is what my life is going to be. My life isn't like that now. Like, I mean, right before the pandemic, there was a moment where I was like, oh my God, I'm living Skins. And then immediately everything got shut down. So I couldn't be at parties where people were, you know, pissing in plant pots and shit. So it's fine. It's probably for the best that I'm sitting at home with a peppermint tea in my Prince Charles and Diana commemorative wedding mug. But like, you know what I mean? It's fun to live vicariously through these 25-year-old teenagers.
And their parents. I guess we should probably we should introduce ourselves. Because, like, well, okay, so we should probably just introduce ourselves because who knows? Maybe people are listening to this for the first time who didn't listen to our Sex and the City podcast. It's pretty
someone who
obvious.
didn't listen to 99 episodes of the other podcast where we just lost our minds more and more every time.
Yeah. It's easy to tell us apart because I'm Stephanie and I'm the one who doesn't have a British accent.
And I'm Alex and I'm the one who doesn't have a Canadian accent.
Exactly. So it's really easy. And I mean, that's not the only difference, but you know.
No, physically there's a lot of differences between us. Vocally, the accent's the main one. I'd say we probably talk at different cadences. I don't know. I've got voice class tomorrow. I really don't want to think about my own voice.
Mood.
Yeah. Should we the episode then? Or do we want to talk more about like why we love? I feel like it'll come up. Like
Well, like, we can briefly talk about our backgrounds with the show, maybe, in case. So, like, I watched the OC as it was airing in, like, 2005, I want to say, when it started. I think I was in grade 9. So I was, like, in early high school. It was very much like you would see pictures of like the main 4 characters on like Teen People when that was still a thing, or like all of the teen magazines that you would see. And it was very much just like I was the 15-year-old or 14-year-old or however the fuck old I was, who was very much like Team Seth. Seth is so hot and nerdy. I love him because I was an idiot and I was 14. I started watching it probably when the show was like, I don't think I watched it with the pilot. I think I started it around like when it was like maybe 10 episodes deep or something like that. And I watched it until about halfway through season 3, I want to say. I never finished the show. So I watched like Marissa, like it's been a long time. I like not to get too ahead of ourselves with spoilers, but like Marissa was still alive when I stopped watching the show.
Yeah, I think so. Like, I watched it like very casually. I just had a look. This episode came out in 2003, which
oh geez, okay, so maybe I was in middle school then.
Yeah, but I watched it just like casually. It used to be shown like there was this TV block in the UK on Channel 4 called like T4, it was in the mornings on like Saturdays and Sundays, and it was, for like teens to like early 20s. Basically, it was made for like when you're hungover or in bed because you're a teenager. So it was a great idea. They don't do it anymore. But basically, they'd have like music videos, interviews with like celebrities, and then they'd show like American TV shows or like reruns of stuff. So it was perfect to just kind of put on and mindlessly zone out in the morning too. And I also had 2 sisters who were like 10 years older than me. So they were teenagers, and I was like, so if it was 2003 when it came out, I would have been like 7.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Wait, now I gotta find out like exactly when I started watching it. Cause I'm like, okay, I hate that. Oh, never mind. That's why. I was like, why is it showing me the OC music when I Google it? That's because I was looking up the OC music yesterday. I cannot wait to talk about the music, the OC mixes and stuff. Like,
oh
fucking
my God.
Christ.
Yeah. But I was like a tween-ish when it was like showing, and I kind of dipped in and out of it, but obviously like my sisters watched it religiously, so I knew all about it. I love the drama. I don't know if I guess I was Team Seth. Like, I think I thought he was cuter, which I think Adam Brody is cute. He's very cute.
Yeah.
Objectively, Seth is a whiny asshole, but at the time I didn't see that. So cute boy.
Yes.
In fact,
it was the same as watching that 70s show, and I was very much like, oh, Eric Foreman is so cute when I was like in middle school. Yeah, I was in middle school and I was like, oh, Eric is so cute and he's so nerdy. And
I didn't expect you to say that. Sorry.
I know. But I see now. I rewatched a bunch of that 70s show in my like early to mid 20s, and I was like, Eric is the worst. Like, he truly just really sucks. Like,
I also rewatched that 70s show like a couple years ago, and I was like, wow, Hyde's really cute. And then they were like, he's black, and I stopped watching. As soon as they got to the point where they were like, his dad's black, I was like, I can't. This is getting out of hand now. It was a lot. But I remember vividly, like, I got this like teenage girl magazine, and they always had posters in the middle. And one day, on one side was Adam Brody, and then on the other side was Kanye West. And this was like 2007, like right around like when like College Dropout came out. So Kanye West was at like peak cuteness, and also peak like, his music's really good, he's really fresh. And before he got kind of, troubled, we'll say. And I was having a really tough time on which side of the poster I wanted to put up on my wall. And I think I decided on Adam Brody.
Wow. Yeah, That's a tough call.
Yeah.
It's like in that era, it's a tough call.
Oh, yeah. That was like,
Yeah.
I mean, like 10, 11-year-old me was like, phew, life is hard.
It's really hard. Yeah, I was very in the mind. Like, we're gonna get to some of the shit that Seth does as we go through the episodes, but there were things where I was like, he's very justified in doing these things, and now I'm just like, oh, Seth, what the fuck is wrong with you? I just.
Even this episode, I was like,
Yeah.
Incel.
Yeah, no, fully. Yeah, no, rewatching it now, I'm just like, oh yeah, like Ryan for sure is so, like, way better than Seth in every way possible. I mean, he's still no Sandy, but.
Now I'm an adult. I put such childish things behind me, and I am fully into Sandy Cohen. Ooh.
Oh yeah.
I want to take him away from Kristen, be like, she's trash. Me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm young, I'm sexy, get all the money in the divorce. I can be Seth's evil stepmother.
Yeah, I knew going into it, like, my name in the Discord has been, like, Dilf King Sandy Cohen for a couple weeks now. I knew going into rewatching it that Sandy was gonna be, you know, like, the true heart of the show, the thing that I really loved most about it, but, like, I was not prepared. I was not prepared to watch this pilot and just fully fall in love with Sandy Cohen. Because it's like, first of all, yes, he is the Dilf King of the Orange County and of the world. But, like, also just his character is so good.
Yes.
Yeah.
His character is, like, fucking lawful good. Just, like, he's a good person. He's funny. He seems sweet. He's hot. When Peter Gallagher showed up in Frankie and Grace and Frankie, I was a bit like, oh, okay. Gilf King Sandy Cohen. It was great. Seeing him flirt with Jane Fonda, I was like, yes, I want this relationship to work out.
Oh, it's good shit. And, like, yeah, well, I mean, maybe we should get into the episode, because then we can talk about the specifics of, like, why Sandy is truly just the best character of the entire 2000s, maybe?
Yeah.
And I beg you to try to submit a better character from the 2000s than Sandy Cohen. Like, send us an ask about it if you want to, but, like, there just isn't. He's just the best, so.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we, like I said, like, I think you just take a drink every time we, like, stan Sandy. You want to get blackout drunk. Mm-hmm. That's just, take a bong rip every time we're like, Sandy's good. You'll be on the floor.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, this is a strong pilot. Like, rewatching it, I'm like, yeah, this holds up in 2021.
It's got a 9 out of 10 on IMDb, which I think is earned. And I think this pilot was also nominated for, like, awards for writing. Like, it's just it sets up all the characters, and it sets up the theme of the show really well. I was nearly crying at the end. It's pretty good. Anyway, we get like
a real little taste of all these characters who are even ones that we don't even see a ton. Like, we don't see Marissa's mom, Julie, a ton, but we get, like, a glimpse into her. I feel like you get a really good vibe of what these characters are about without even having their plots, like, delved deeply into, just from the pilot. It's good.
Just from Julie Cooper wearing a pink velour tracksuit, I'm like, I know that bitch. I know that woman, and I love her.
Yeah. So we start out, and Ryan is with his brother, and, like, they're just on the street at night, and his brother is, like, breaking into a car, like, fully just smashes the windshield to steal it. And he's like, come on, you little bitch, to Ryan, like, get in the car. And Ryan's, like, apprehensive about it, because we know Ryan is, like, he's not the kind of person who wants to steal a car for no reason.
No.
I mean, he looks back and he sees, like, a cop car kind of drive by, and he's like, this could be bad.
I wonder if this will be important later.
Yeah. But he jumps in the car because the cop car, like, backs up and starts chasing them. And, like, it's a pretty short chase scene. They end up, like, crashing the stolen car, and Ryan gets, like, I mean, he's the passenger. He's not the one who stole the car, but obviously he's still gonna get in trouble for it. So he ends up, like, in prison or jail, I guess.
Yeah.
He's not, like, fully arrested.
he gets arrested, and like then we meet Sandy, who's his public defender, signed as his lawyer, and he's like, so he explains that his brother Trey, because he had a gun, he had weed, and he's over 18, like he's going to jail. There's nothing they
Yeah.
can do about that, really. Which I'm like,
Mhm.
bro, if you're gonna steal a car, we don't have like a gun and weed on you. Like, do what? Like, come on. He's set himself up there. I'm like, all right, there's only
Yeah.
so much you can at that point. I'm like, all right, there's only so much you can do here.
There's also like I don't know what there's they never explain why he's stealing the car, so it's not like I'm even
No.
like sympathetic to like, oh, maybe there was a reason he needed to do this or whatever. He's just this like white guy stealing a car, and I'm
Yeah.
just like, I don't sympathize, but we obviously sympathize with Ryan.
Yeah, because
who,
Ryan
like-
doesn't have any priors. And Sandy also explains that like while his grades aren't good, like his test scores are, and he's in like the 98th percentile. So he's like he gives him the tough talk of like, you need to start looking after yourself, and you need to stop moping around and like apply yourself to shit, because then you can get out. Like, he's trying to say you can get out of poverty by working hard, which is questionable. But obviously, Ryan's really smart. He's white, which is the weird thing about this. Like, I Googled it because I remember I saw like a Tumblr post a while ago that was like, I don't know if it was in the spec script or if it was just like someone had said it would have made a little bit more sense if Ryan was like Latino. And then also the population of Chino is like mostly Latino. But he's blonde as fuck, Ben McKenzie. But yeah, Sandy's basically saying like, look, you're smart. If you apply yourself and work hard, you can do something with your life. And Ryan's like, yeah, well, I read that people are going to be working till they're 80 in the future, so I don't really want to do that.
It's an interesting dynamic because Sandy even goes into it this episode where he talks about his backstory a bit, because Sandy does not come from the wealth of the OC like his wife does. Like, his wife is old money. Her dad is rich as fuck. Like, that's just what she's from. But Sandy, like, did not come from this. Like, he talks a few times about how he's like seen the world outside of this bubble. Like, he married into it. Like, he's still like obviously makes a lot less money than his wife does, because he's not like he's a lawyer, but he's like a public defender. He's not, like this high profile lawyer man, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure they get into it later in the series that like Sandy could very easily be working for like a good law firm. But he chooses not to because he likes being a public defender. He wants to help people. Kirsten, his wife, is like waspy old money. But Sandy himself, like he says, he grew up in the Bronx. His dad left. His mom had to work all the time, and he was smart and he worked hard and got himself out of there. Also married rich, which good for him. He didn't mention that.
It becomes pretty obvious when he like takes Ryan home, which doesn't happen right away, because like first he gives Ryan the talk, and then he's like, okay, like he obviously is very compassionate. Like, Sandy doesn't just do this because he's like wants to make money. Like, he genuinely cares about the people he's helping, and he basically, like, when he takes Ryan outside and his mom picks him up and yells at him, he's like, here's my personal home phone number. Call me if you need anything. Like, he's very compassionate. Yeah.
Yeah, like Ryan's mom comes, she's shouting at him, and like the car's kind of beat down, and she seems like, I kind of get the feeling like, I think he says at one point that like she's an alcoholic, because like she seems like it's not a good atmosphere, it's not a good vibe. So yeah, Sandy gives him his card, says call me whenever. Ryan goes home, and his stepdad, like, he gets into a fight with his mum. His mum is screaming at him and is like, well, this line was kind of clunky, but she basically says like, your dad's in jail, your brother's in jail, and you're going to end up in jail too. And then his stepdad punches him in the face, because Ryan is like, why don't you go look after your own kids instead of mooching off my mother? So it's like he's in a very abusive household, and then his mum just kicks him out, and this was the scene.
Yeah, he just gets fully kicked out of his place, and he doesn't have literally anything. Like, he literally leaves with his bike and the clothes on his back.
It's really fucked up. But like as soon as he leaves, he gets on his little BMX, and like the theme kicks in. California, here we fucking come. And he rides to this like public phone booth, and he starts calling everyone. He's like, "Hey, can I crash on your couch?" Blah blah blah. He's calling multiple people. No one's saying yes. And then finally, he calls Sandy.
Yeah, he calls Sandy, and then he just waits by the side of the road, and Sandy comes and picks him up in his, like, beautiful black car that's
It's like BMW.
Yeah. Also, when the credits are playing, we see a name in the credits that Matt was like, I need to look this up, because it was Daphne Ashbrook, and he was like, is she related to Bobby Briggs? And she fully is.
Oh my god!
Ryan's mom is Bobby Briggs's sister.
That's so exciting. Daphne and Dana, love that. I was gonna say this show is produced by McG, who also produced Charlie's Angels. Which is great. And apparently also Josh Schwartz, who's like the showrunner, was 26 when this started, making him like the youngest showrunner of like a major show.
Oh my god.
It's ridiculous, but good for him. Like at the time, he was the youngest. So we get the theme playing over this, like, it's just great of like Sandy driving Ryan up, and they're having like a little talk of just Ryan's like, I didn't think public defenders made enough money to buy BMWs. And he's like, no, but my wife does. Love this.
Yeah.
The gold digging mentality from Sandy. He really lucked out.
That's so good.
He's like, I'm gonna marry Rich, and then I'm gonna do something good with my time, because I don't have to worry about paying bills or shit. So
yeah, it's good. I also thought it was like kind of weird that he was taking a job in Chino and he lives in the Orange County. But then I looked up the map, and they're only like a 35-minute drive apart from each other. It does still seem a bit weird, because California is just so densely populated that like you'd think Chino would just have its own public defenders. But like, I guess it's not that much of a stretch to imagine that he would be going out there to help clients, I guess.
Yeah, and I guess like the OC is pretty well off, that most people there could afford a lawyer.
Yeah.
/ like don't necessarily need public defending.
Yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
I am considering, do I watch The Real Housewives of the OC this time? Because, I mean, I'd already been watching Real Housewives of New York.
Yeah.
Which randomly Candace Bushnell shows up at one point in. So, I don't know, I just need context.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah, it makes sense. It's like a 30-minute drive away. It would be like me going to working in the other side of London. Not even that, like the next borough over.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like, it's not far or anything by any means, especially since I know plenty of people who commute to my work from like Scarborough, which means nothing to people who listen to this podcast probably, but like that is like close to Toronto and probably like a 45-minute drive without traffic. So it's like, why would you do this? Why would you do that? But anyway, with traffic, it's brutal, because driving to Toronto in the fucking morning is disgusting. But anyway, so they park, and then Sandy's kind of just like, okay, just wait in the car for a sec. I'm gonna go talk to my wife, because I haven't, talked to her about this yet. I was just like, you're coming home with me. Like, I'm not gonna leave you on the street. So I love that he goes and talks to fucking Kirsten, and Sandy's just explaining, because like Kirsten's like a little bit, apprehensive, like, you just brought some guy home. What?
And just brought some criminal home.
Sandy's just like, well, he's not a felon. He's not a felon. And Kirsten's like, well, you met him in jail, didn't you? And he's like, okay, well, he is a felon, but like, he's not. Like, he's a good guy. Like, he's a felon, but he's not a felon. You know what I mean? And just...
He's like, I mean, Sandy's right. Like, he didn't steal the car. He didn't have any priors. Like, but he's also, you met him, like, today.
Yeah, you barely know this kid. He just has a good first impression from him, and I love that Kirsten's like, when have you been so self-righteous? And he's like, I've always been self-righteous. What are you talking about? I fucking love him.
Oh, yeah, so like, Kirsten's just like, okay, fine. And she walks off and he's like, where are you going? And she says, to put my jewelry in the safe. I'm kidding. I'm going to go get him sheets and towels.
Yeah, because she's like, he can just sleep in the pool house, because, you know, rich people have just, like, a pool house.
And this pool house is nicer than my fucking, like, flat. Like, this pool house is gorgeous. Yeah. It's huge, and it's, like, all glass. It's beautiful. So she's beautiful. Like, yeah, put him in the pool house. Like, he's sleeping in a shed. And apparently it's, like, just for the weekend, you know, while he gets back on his feet. And, like, he can go back home and once it's cooled down and everything. So then Ryan's outside, smoking a cigarette, when he meets Marissa Cooper. And yeah, this is like this is like an iconic scene. I mean, this whole pilot's iconic, this scene particularly. And they start talking and she's like, oh, who are you? And he says, he tells the truth. He's like, I'm Ryan and I boosted a car. Actually, my brother did. He's going to go to jail. My mum kicked me out, so I'm staying with the Cohens for a while. And she's like,
you fully skip over the part where he says, whoever you want me to be.
Oh yeah.
It's so, the way he delivers all his lines in this scene is so dramatic and broody. Like, he's just like, stole a car. And
oh my god, yeah, he like tilts his head back and he's like goes into the shadows and he's like smoking a cigarette, like, stole a car, actually my brother did, and he's in jail, my dad's in jail too. The original fucking broody boy, Ryan Atwood, he's doing so much in every scene. Like, my favorite part is like earlier when he's talking to Sandy and he's like every time he says anything, he kind of like tilts his head and he's like, so I read that people are gonna work until they're 80. It's like, oh my god, cheer up, dude. Like, I know life's been tough for you, but you don't have to brood on every single line.
It's like he can tell, it's like he really leans into the mysterious, sexy bad boy thing. Yeah. And like, it's like, does Ryan like know he's doing it, or is Ben McKenzie just playing this up? Like, because like Ryan,
I think Ben McKenzie is playing it up.
Yeah,
but it makes sense for the character that he knows, like, it's a defense mechanism to push people away. Mm-hmm. That makes sense for the character, but I genuinely think that Ben McKenzie is just like, I'm a bad boy. He watched Rebel Without a Cause and just did that.
We also, like, because Matt watched this with me, we were like, what the fuck is Marissa even doing? Why is she just standing at the edge of her driveway? Like, Matt was like, I think this is just hot girl shit. She's waiting for her boyfriend to pick her up. Which makes sense, but like...
I'm gonna do that from now on. I'm just gonna stand at the end of, like, I don't have a driveway, but I'm just gonna stand in the street. Yeah. I mean, I do that, but I'm usually, like, smoking a cigarette or something.
I was gonna say, like, at least you smoke. Like, she doesn't actually smoke. She bums a cigarette off of Ryan and lights it off of his cigarette and, you know, hot girl shit still.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't even know if she, like, truly smokes. I think that was just hot girl shit.
Yeah, no, for sure. But then her boyfriend comes and picks her up, and we get our first glimpse of Luke, who just, like, we hate him so far. At this... I don't remember how redeemable he gets at some point, but at this point, we hate him.
I think he does get redeemed a little bit. There's also the bit where, like, when Ryan is giving his, like, tragic backstory, Marissa goes, oh, you're the cousin from Boston. And he's like, yeah. And then Sandy comes out and she's like, oh, Mr. Cohen, I met your nephew. And he's like, oh, yeah, my nephew from Seattle. And Ryan's like, oh, well, my dad lives in Boston. My mum lives in Seattle. And she's like, okay. And she still believes that. And then she gets into the car with Luke. Like, okay.
Yeah, it's very funny.
Luke is like a Chad drawing as well.
Yeah, he really is. I also love that, like, Sandy's like, okay, there's no smoking in this house, and then Ryan puts out a cigarette on the driveway. He doesn't put it out, he throws it on the ground, and then, like, Sandy does this little run to just go put out the cigarette after he throws it on the ground, and it's just such a cute little character moment.
It's great, and I love it. So yeah, they go in, and it's just Kirsten, and they have a maid, and she's like, "Hi, Ryan. This is Rosa. If you need anything, she'll be helping you." And then she kind of goes, like, gives some towels and sheets, and is like, "Go to the pool house. Bye." It was just kind of weird. So Ryan goes to sleep, and then the next day he meets Seth, who, like
Yeah.
a child, is sitting eating cereal and playing on his PlayStation 2.
And he is completely hunched over. He has this full gamer hunch going on as he plays.
Also, he's sitting on the floor for no reason.
There's fully a couch, but he's sitting on the floor. Also, I just want to mention, in case you forgot that this was like 2003, as Ryan walks into the house from the thing, we get to the full view of the infinity pool.
Oh yeah,
because it's very cool and new in 2003 to have an infinity pool, and so we get that good glimpse of that.
Yeah.
But okay, this is one of my favorite parts of the episode when, like, so they're playing video games and Seth's just like, "Oh, do you want to play with me?" And he's like, "We could play GTA. You can like steal cars."
Yeah, we can play Grand Theft Auto. You can steal cars. Yeah, no shit. Also, who hasn't heard of GTA? It's 2003.
This is true. It's just, I love that that's his first thing he has to say to Ryan. Just
Yeah,
you'd be into that.
You'd be into that. Immediately puts his foot in his mouth.
It's in character.
Yeah, but him and Ryan like play some video games. It's very cute. And then Sandy comes in. He's like, "Why don't you two go outside?" Like full dad mode. He's like, "Go outside, show Ryan something that's not a fucking video game." So they go sailing.
After Seth is like, "There's nothing to do around here, Dad." And it's like, you are rich, but go off.
You're rich, but he doesn't have any friends because he's a weirdo. So he has like no friends.
Yeah.
I think there's a comic book store he goes to in one episode. Yeah. Because they have to make him like extra nerdy. Like he can't just be like, "Oh, I'm kind of, I don't really have like loads of friends, like I'm not very social." He's like, "No, I'm really into comic books and I'm into music, I'm into movies." He's into everything.
Yeah, he's into all that, nerd boy shit. He's like the guy who wears the t-shirt with another shirt underneath it so that he likes music.
He's very Sheldon-esque. He's
yeah.
Well, no, he's not quite that bad, but we're almost Big Bang Theory level, but he's cute, so we let him get away with it. He's
cute, and he's not, like, written the way Sheldon Big Bang Theory is, like, them writing his awkwardness, and if you don't play it with a laugh track on, it genuinely just is the most painfully awkward social situations you've ever seen in your life. Yeah, it's not quite that bad, but yeah, he does have the advantage of being cute, and he has some funny comments. Like, some of them are just really cringe, but every once in a while he does say something that is like a funny sarcastic observation or something. And if you're like a teenage girl and you eat that shit up, you'll love Seth. Like, it's, yeah.
I feel like he's very non-threatening as well, which if you're a teenage girl, you're like, "Oh my god, a pretty boy who's like not threatening and would probably blush if I asked him out." Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So they go sailing. They're on this like little catamaran thing, which is called the Summer Breeze. Okay, so Seth explains that the boat is named after Summer, who he is in love with, but has never spoken to. And also he wants to sail to Tahiti on this it's like literally like a net and it's just a net. It's not even a proper boat.
Yeah, like he's gonna die if he does this.
And he does! Well, he doesn't die, but he does do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's like, "I want to sail to Tahiti and like bring Summer." And Ryan is just staring at him like, this kid has fucking lost it.
He says, "That's pretty cool." Or yeah, he says that sounds really cool, man.
When you're hanging out with like your weird cousin or like your friend, your mum's friend's kid who is like burning ants, and you're like, "Yeah, that's cool, dude."
Yeah.
That's how, but for some reason Ryan like actually likes him.
Yeah, I guess he just finds him like endearing. He's like, "Yeah, you are this rich kid, but like, whatever, you're nice, I guess." And I mean, Ryan probably knows if Seth was like a little bitch and being really rude to him, he could take him and He could literally just beat Seth up if he wanted to. Not that he wants to, but, like, he could if he had to.
And he's probably just being nice to him because Sandy was nice to him, so he's like, okay, cool.
Yeah, that's true.
And so they, like, have their little sailing trip, and then they meet Sandy. So this whole thing, there's, like, a fashion show. And Sandy says, oh, we need to go to that because Marissa invited Ryan. And then Seth is like, oh, you met Marissa? I've never spoken to Marissa, and it's weird because her dad nearly married my mum. And Sandy's like,
that's not true.
Like, that's not true. Shut up.
Yeah, it's very funny. And as they're, like, walking back into the house, Marissa's, like, watching them from her balcony in her low-rise pants and just...
Oh, I love it.
It's
her
very
low-rise
good.
pants and her Henley top. Like, it's perfect.
Yeah. It's... I mean, I know it is literally California in the 2000s, but, like, it's very California in the 2000s.
Yeah. They get it on the fucking nose. And, there's a knock at the door, so she goes to it. And it's these two guys who, like, in suits. They look like the guys from Lilo and Stitch. Like, they're ridiculously intimidating. And then they hand over, like, a business card, and they're just tax people, I think, right?
Yeah, they're like maybe debt collectors, maybe. They're looking for money, basically, from Jimmy.
Yeah. I feel like Jimmy, I can't remember what it was exactly. I feel like maybe he was doing, like, insider trading or something.
I guess we'll find out.
We'll find out. But they're scary looking guys. They're not the FBI. They're like, we're looking for your father. And she's like, oh, I told you he's not here. Go away. If I hear anything from him, I'll let you know. Obviously, she's not going to do that. She closes the door and goes into him. He's just in the office.
Yeah, he's in the office and he's like, thanks. Jimmy is truly the worst character on this show, I think. Like, I think he was sympathetic when I was a teenager, and I was like, he seems like a pretty nice guy who means well. But watching this as a 29-year-old, I'm just like, he is like a white-collar criminal who oh no, you know what he was doing? He was stealing money from his clients, I think, and then he wasn't able to pay it back, so now he just owes money to, like, all these people, and so he definitely is just like, they're running out of money, like, they're basically broke. And it's like, I don't have any sympathy for this rich man stealing money from other people, like, getting in trouble with the law and then just trying to hide it from his family and being a little bitch. Like, I can't sympathize with it anymore like I could when I was a teenager. And also, he's like, we don't really touch on it that much, but he's still, like, weirdly in love with Kirsten.
And they live next door to each other.
Yeah.
Which is weird. And, like, that's it, yeah. He stole money to, I don't know, fund his wife and, like, daughter's lifestyle and stuff. So he's ruined their lives because he couldn't say, no, you can't get a handbag.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, because we do see a reference to that later when Summer's like, what? Like, does your dad never say no to you getting stuff, basically?
Yeah, so it's like, well, there's a reason for that. There's a reason for everything, Summer.
Yeah.
But yeah, they explain this whole thing. It's this, like, fucking fashion show. I mean, it's all this stuff that is, like, in these TV shows that I never quite understand. Like,
it's just a rich people bullshit.
Why would you have a fashion show? You're not even, like, showing fashions. You're wearing something from a department store.
It's for charity. So, like, they do this every year for charity. Instead of just giving the money to charity, they, like, have a fashion show fundraiser. So I guess everyone who attends has to, like, spend money, and then it all goes to charity or something, so they can pat themselves on the back and say, look what we did for the poors.
Tax write-off.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, they don't even look good. Like, the people doing the fashion in this show, like, the outfits don't even, their makeup, they wear so much makeup, but it's not done well at all.
No, they are wearing a lot of makeup. Like, yeah, which does not make the girls look any younger. But they talk about this whole fashion show. It's very cute. Sandy teaches Ryan how to do a tie.
It's so nice. I love the scene where they talk to each other, and Sandy's like, yeah, it's nice to have that Seth has someone to hang out with. Like, he's a neat kid. And Ryan's like, yeah, he's cool. And Sandy just has this moment on his face where it's like, you can tell no one has ever called Seth cool in his entire life, and Sandy's just like, oh.
You can tell Sandy's like, no, he's not. This kid is lying to me. You can tell he's like, okay, he's a neat kid, but he's not cool. Like, you don't have to lie.
Yeah.
It's very cute though, and well, at first Ryan's like, oh, I'm just not going to wear a tie, it's fine. And
like,
then
open collar,
Sandy's
it's
like,
good.
Yeah, and then Sandy's like, it's fine. I didn't know how to tie a tie until I was 25. Come here. It's adorable. It's the scenes I like. These are my two kings.
Yeah.
So I like to see them together.
Mm-hmm, me too. I just love every scene where Sandy, like, does a read on Ryan, and then he's just very, like, let me help you because I know exactly what you're going through. Like, I've been there, and I love it so much. And then he also looks hot as fuck the whole time, too, so you're like, good shit.
He's like, dad mode activated. I fucking love it.
Uh-huh.
So then, oh my god, Shailene Woodley.
Yeah, she's Marissa's little sister in season 1.
Yeah, she comes back and she's like fucking 12 years older.
And she's like, I deal drugs now.
She is meant to be like 13 and she's played by like a 19-year-old and she's like, I do drugs, I'm a bad girl. It's like, wait a second, what?
Yeah, for now she's like 10 and Shailene Woodley before Shailene Woodley was on Secret Life of the American Teenager.
Yes, this is proto Shailene. This is our crossover episode.
With jerking it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, and this is also where we kind of see a bit more Julie, who's Marissa's mom, and she's like, Marissa, are you wearing the Donna Karen? Is my hair too flat? Do I like Avril Lavigne? She's just very kind of hoity-toity, a bit vain and shallow, I guess.
She's very like housewife.
She could easily be on the Real Housewives of something.
Yes, absolutely. She's like the trophy wife. And she looks great to me, but she also is very like she has some stuff come up in some future episodes that she's a queen, but also she does some stuff that's very that's bad.
Problematic. I mean, if she was on Real Housewives of whatever, I'd be like, get this bitch off the show. But because this is like written, I'm like, yes, queen, you marry a guy who has a heart attack 5 seconds later. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, for sure. It makes for intriguing drama, even though some of it is stuff that, like, we'll get there in, like, 10 episodes. But, like, she has a lot of stuff going on. And there's a lot more than we see in this episode. Character development.
But then we go to this party, I guess. Ryan has a drink because everyone is like everyone's just being annoying rich people. Like, oh, I could never live in Seattle. It rains there. I love living in California. No one's noticed that his accent, I mean, I don't know where Ben McKenzie's actually from, but wouldn't his accent actually be like Californian?
I imagine that being from Seattle, you wouldn't talk too differently than you would from California.
Well, they also think he's from Boston and Canada.
Yeah, so Canada, it depends. I feel like it depends on where you're from in Canada, because I think I can't tell that people sound, well, maybe that's because I'm Canadian. Some people I know are like, yeah, Seth, I can obviously tell Seth Rogen's Canadian, and I'm like, I could never tell you that just from listening to him talk. I can tell you that from knowing about him, but not from hearing him. Boston, it depends, because I know a couple people from Boston or like in and around Massachusetts who do not sound anything like Matt Damon. So, like, I think that might depend.
I mean, maybe it's, like, very British of me because, like, I don't know, you go to the other side of London, people have different accents.
Yeah.
But I'm like, this person grew up, 20 minutes away from you? And you think he's from Seattle or Boston? Like, they're just being also, like, rude and annoying. So he's, like, he tries to get a drink and then Kirsten... See, I said earlier today in the Discord, I'm going to call her Kristen. Kirsten is behind him and she's like, No. He takes a drink and says, I want Sandy to be right about you. So he's all right. He understands. And then we see the fashion show. Like, it's, like we said, it's shit. Where there's no fashions at the fashion show.
Wait. There was one thing I had in my notes before this that I screamed about, which was, well, immediately after Luke calls Seth a queer, which was like, very cool, Luke.
Oh, yeah.
We hate you. Immediately after
too,
that.
just because it was so sudden. Like, he just goes,
yeah.
Seth is like, oh, hey, Luke. And he's like, hey, queer. And I was like, what?
Yeah, it was like, excuse me? Like, I know that people do use it as a slur, obviously, even still, but it's still very much just like, oh, okay. But then immediately after that happens, Sandy comes up to fucking Ryan and Seth talking, and then Sandy's just like, hey, is that Summer? And he points at her.
He's pointing at her, and she's like 6 feet away, and he's pointing and is like, is that Summer, the girl you have a crush on, Seth?
It's so funny. I love it so much. But yeah, then we get the fashion show, and it's whatever. Marissa comes down the runway and then gives Ryan a look, and Luke just sees her looking at Ryan, and you can tell Luke is just like, fuck this guy. This isn't going to be a problem later on, clearly.
No, I mean, she does just look at him, but he's like, he's steaming.
He doesn't like it. We also got our first Sex and the City tie-in moment where Julie's like, she mentions the Manolos that Marissa either was going to wear or did end up wearing, and I was like, oh, like a Carrie Bradshaw.
She's having a very Carrie Bradshaw moment. Yeah, this would have been right around the time it just ended, so very, very eerie. I mean, that is also, like, timeline-wise, this would have just started. The pilot came out, like, right as Sex and the City ended, so we're getting into a new wave of television here. And there's also, like, Summer's there. I mean, we didn't really talk very much about Summer. She plays more of a role later. I mean, she's a bitch in this episode. She becomes a much better character, like, later on, but she's a bitch in this episode. But backstage, they're, like, drinking and being very, like, party girl, like, oh my god, should we have some vodka?
Yeah, look what I stole.
Oh my god, look what I stole. And then Jimmy Cooper is like having a fucking mental breakdown in the toilets, and Ryan is just there washing his hands, like
king shit, washing his hands.
He love it, but he doesn't even say anything. He's just like, okay, and then leaves.
Yeah, it's a lot. He leaves, and then so Ryan gets invited to this beach house party from Summer, because Summer is like, ooh, who's this guy? I'm going to find out who he is. And she invites Ryan, and then Ryan is like, oh, hey, Seth, we're invited to this party, and Summer invited us, so we should go. And Seth's like, oh, okay, let's go to this party, I guess. And Swing by the All-American Rejects is playing, soundtrack check, as they climb into the back of this Jeep. And then it fades in as they get to the party to Hands Up from the Black Eyed Peas from their album Elefunk, which I was a big fan of when I was in middle school.
Elefunk was a banger, let's be real.
It was the thing, yeah. Yeah,
so like, yeah, they get to this party. Also, Ryan says, oh, Summer asked for you, by the way. Like, he says this, like, oh yeah, Summer asked for you. Don't do that. At the party, though, it's, like, pitch black outside and people walking around in bikinis. Which
people
I know
are doing
is
cocaine.
They're doing cocaine and shisha?
There's also the world's tallest bong in this house.
Yeah.
We also... Matt and I were talking and we're like, it's very funny that some of the people at this party are just like 35, and we couldn't tell if they were meant to be 35 or if they just are 35. Like, are they meant to be teenagers? Like, some of the people here just look old.
I think they're meant to be teenagers. I would guess everyone's meant to be teenagers, possibly college students.
Yeah.
But yeah, everyone looks so old. They're doing cocaine, like, out in the open, which I'm like, that's not don't know if that's a teenage drug.
I do know that so when I was in high school, like no one I knew did coke, but like when I was older and I was like maybe just graduated, I did hear about how like one of my good friends, like her little sister's friends sometimes did it. Like I don't think her little sister did, but like I have heard about people that I went to high school with who did do coke in high school, which is wild, but
my friend, like, little sister's friends were doing coke, and I was like, excuse me? Because, like, the year before, I was, like, half chaperoning one of their parties, and they were nursing beers. So I was like, what? I mean, I guess it is a thing, but, like, is it for the pilot episode? And also, like, showing them smoking, which was a big deal.
Yeah, that was weird. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, you never see characters smoking, just, like, characters casually smoking, really.
Yeah,
especially teenagers.
Pretty much completely been cut out of television now, at least network television. Like, I feel like if there was like a like if it was like cable television airing now, you could see teenagers smoking. Like, I'm sure that you saw them smoking on like Shameless or whatever, stuff like that. But like, yeah, not on like, you would never see like Archie Andrews started smoking on Riverdale or something like that.
And it's just like, he just like picked up the habit and it's just a thing he does now. Like, they're just eating in the diner and he's like, okay, I'm gonna go outside and smoke. And everyone's just like, okay. No one's like, Archie, how dare you smoke?
No, they just do Jingle Jangle instead.
Oh yeah, that's the fake drug they have, isn't it?
Yeah, they got a few of those. None of the main characters currently do it, or they may have done it like once, but they don't really do it. It's more of a drug that, you know, like the Ghoulies do it, and so you hear about
the Ghoulies?
I don't know. They're like this other gang that's not the Serpents, who are like, they're like the bad gang, but the Serpents are like the good gang. So
the good gang, yes.
Yeah.
Gangs known for being good.
Yeah. But
there's also bathtub threesomes happening in this fucking
There's
party.
A bathtub threesome. When they walk into the party, Ryan has another very cheesy line where he just says, "Welcome to the dark side."
Yeah, it's a lot. And everyone's just going fucking crazy at this party. People are getting like their boobs felt up in the main room, you know?
Yeah, and like, we also get a lot of shots where we kind of start getting the impression that Marissa is using substances to cope with her life and how it's going right now. Yeah.
The way she's pouring vodka into this drink made me feel sick, and I wasn't even drinking it. She's just like blindly like glugging it in. Like, the drink is the opposite measurements of what you would probably do. Like, if you did like a healthy double shot of vodka and then some cranberry juice, she put like 2 shots of cranberry juice and then the rest is vodka in a highball glass. I was like, I wanted to throw up. I wanted to puke.
Yeah, and you can tell that she's kind of trying to hide it from her friends, because she kind of does it when they look away a little bit. Like, she's trying to like mask a little bit that she is like going through a lot. She's having a normal one and using alcohol to try to cover that up. But yeah, we very much see that she's kind of doing this in the background. And yeah, you know what? I do get it, because like she clearly knows something is up with her dad. She sees the business card of the people who are coming for money. Also, like, she doesn't quite know it yet, but her boyfriend is a disgusting creep. We get this scene where Marissa's not there, but Luke's just talking to this girl and just fucking... Okay, I died because this girl starts flirting with Luke and she's just like, isn't it like so beautiful, the sand and the water? It's like, you live in California.
It's the opposite of Anakin Skywalker, which, like, fun fact, isn't Rachel Bilson, who plays Summer, married to Hayden Christensen?
Is she? I don't know.
I think they had a baby.
Wow.
I don't know. Someone important fucked Hayden Christensen, had a baby with him. But otherwise, like, yeah, she's like the sand and like the ocean.
It's beautiful.
And then it's beautiful. And he's like, do you want to go swim? And she's like, what about Marissa? And he's like, it's cool. So they go, and Ryan sees and is, you know, he's like, I'm going to mentally note this down. So I fucking hate this dude. And then yeah, so like a lot happens at this party. And then Summer comes over to Ryan at one point, and she's really wasted, and tries hitting on him, and like it's just she spills her drink on him on like his crotch, I guess, and she's like trying to pat it off, and he's like pushing her away, like stop.
Yeah.
And then Seth comes out, sees Rachel like all over Ryan, even though he's clearly trying to push her away.
Mhm.
And then Seth throws a fucking tantrum and like loudly shouts, why don't you just go back to Chino? I'm sure there's a car in the parking lot you can steal.
Yeah, and then this is where we get the classic line of Chino, ew, which is just eternal.
Yeah, and Summer I think calls him Chino for like at least a couple seasons.
Yeah, she calls him that for a while. It's like, haha, you're poor.
Yeah, everyone in the party is like, ew. Like everyone looks at him with disgust knowing that he's poor.
He's poor and he's from Chino. And yeah, they're all very kind of grossed out by it. Seth is fairly drunk at this point, I think. It doesn't excuse him having this tantrum over like clearly not being able to even remotely read Ryan's body language, but he like wanders down to the beach and then these guys start picking on him. And like, okay, does he deserve this? Not from them for no reason, but also yes for other reasons. They start like lifting him and putting him upside down, and Seth's just like, this would be so cliche if you beat me up, so I think you shouldn't.
Yeah, I mean, it's no point. They just randomly start like wanting to beat him up for no real reason. Just that he's kind of weird, I guess. And they're fully like jumping him though, because there's like four or five of them, and they're all just actually beating the shit out of him. First, they're kind of just like pushing him around a bit, and then they start punching him. So Ryan runs over, tries to get Luke. Luke punches him in the scuffle. That's when he's like, "Welcome to the OC, bitch."
This is how it's done in the Orange County.
Yeah. And then they go away. The boys, our boys, go home. We also didn't mention there was like a scene between Kirsten and Jimmy, where Jimmy's walking the dog, she's taking the bins out, and he's like, there's like a lot of chemistry going on, and they're like, oh, did you ever expect our life would be like this?
Yeah, and they're just talking about like, because Marissa comes home late a lot, and then Kristen's just like, yeah, Seth never leaves the house, so this is a bit weird for me.
Yeah. And he's like, oh yeah, Marissa always comes home late, so I don't care about my child.
Yeah, it's fine. And then Julie pops her head out the door and she's just like, Jimmy, did you get my froyo? And then he's like, sorry, I forgot. Like, what do you mean you're taking the dog out? Were you supposed to walk and get froyo? Where are they? They're in the suburbs. Where is in like walking froyo distance before it gets like melted? I don't know. And it seems like it's like 1 a.m. at this point, but yeah, it seems pretty late. But he's like, oh, I forgot, but I'll go back and get some. She's like, okay, pistachio. Yeah, it's good. I love it. And yeah, so the boys come home. They go to the pool house, obviously, to like not make noise in the house. Seth just like crashes, but is saying like, "Oh, you're a good dude. You know, I really like you. I had a nice time." Blah blah blah. But immediately crashes and falls asleep. He's like, "Now I'm on Summer's radar. She knows who I am now. That's the first time I talked to her." And it's just like, dude, what? Yeah. No. Yeah, she was trying to fuck the guy, like, right next to you, but okay. And so he immediately falls asleep. Ryan goes out for another cigarette. I love the last cigarette before bed. It's beautiful. It's the best one. And yeah, he goes out for another cigarette. And we see Summer and this other girl dropping off Marissa, and she is blackout. She is completely passed out. Like, she's not moving. They lift her up and put her on, like, in front of the door. They can't find her keys, so they just drive away. And they're clearly shit-faced.
they're also shit. They're also drunk driving. And yeah, Marissa is just gone. She is passed out. So Ryan goes to pick her up. Ugh. And he's like got her in his arms and he puts her in the pool house bed. The music playing is very, like, Ryan is a good guy.
Yeah, he's really sweet. He just picks her up. He first tries to like find her key and stuff because he's not shit-faced and he can't find it, so he just carries her and puts her in the pool house bed, and then he like sleeps on some cushions elsewhere.
Yeah, on the floor.
It's sweet though.
It's sweet. What's the music in this scene? Because it is very romantic.
That's a good question. I know that I'm not sure if it's this scene or later in the episode, but one of the scenes near the end of the episode was Honey in the Moon.
Yeah, I think this might have been it.
It might have been this scene. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then the next morning she's just gone, but it was cute nonetheless. Kirsten comes in screaming also the next morning and is like, what happened to your face? Why are you home so late? You're obviously drunk. Makes it pretty clear to Ryan that he should go home now.
Yeah, and she like drags Seth into the house, and then she goes out as Sandy comes home. Sandy's been surfing. He's like done surfing already, and he's just like, hey, what's up? And Kirsten's like, yeah, I don't want him in this house anymore. Like, Seth got in a fight that never would have happened if Ryan wasn't here. And then Sandy says, don't salt his game, hun.
Well, I feel like Sandy's right. Like, maybe Seth should have been in a fight. Because it seems like
should have. Yeah.
It seems like he doesn't have any friends. And he like never goes out. Has he got into a fight? Like, and they don't even know the reason behind the fight.
Yeah, they don't. They just
I'm pretty sure Seth would have been like, some guys were picking on me, and then Ryan came to my rescue. That's why we got into the fight, as opposed to like, I don't know, he was just drunkenly fighting people randomly.
Yeah, he wasn't like being aggressive or anything like that.
No.
Yeah.
He was just being picked on, but he went out and like still had a nice time or whatever.
He did.
Anyway.
Yeah, and Sandy is just like, look, I think it's nice that he has someone to hang out with. He doesn't have friends. Like, I'd way rather have him hang out with Ryan than just some trust fund kid who just like wants a new car. Like, I don't know. I think this is good for him. And I think that Sandy's a king.
I do too. I mean, Sandy seems to have thought this through, which I've also thought about, which is like, what if, for example, I do marry someone rich, you know, because we're all like, gold digging, and Nicole Smith, whatever. What if I do marry someone rich and then I have a kid and then, oh, fuck, now my kid's a rich kid? What?
Yeah.
You need to make them not be annoying about it, because there are people who are born into like wealth that are chill. They're few and far between. They're few and far between. But they do exist. I have met people who have like, you know, come from well-off backgrounds, but they're pretty like down, like they're normal. So it kind of makes sense. He's like, no, give him a fucking normal friend.
They need like a wake-up call.
Keep him humble.
Yeah, it's very much like, you know, the daughter in Knives Out who is like the girl who's like, yeah, no, I'm woke. I know I'm rich, but like I have all these friends who are, you know, like normal people from university, and I'm woke, and I think that, you know, it's good that she should get this money. But then when push comes to shove, when it really comes down to it at the end of the day, you still care about your rich family more than you care about like actual real people's lives. And like, I think Seth really needs to have some exposure to literally anything outside of that bubble of the Orange County.
I think Sandy realizes it's probably a good idea for Seth to have friends before he gets to university or college, and he's already kind of set in his ways. Do you know what I mean? Like before that age of like, oh, well, I'm an adult, so I'm growing. Like, no, and you kind of, as weird as this sounds, I think when you're a teenager, you kind of need to have experiences where, like, you go to a party, you maybe have a couple more drinks than you're meant to, you get into a fight, you come home, you're hungover, you learn your lesson, not to drink too much, let's not get into fights, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of like normal development. I think something roughly like that happens. If Seth is never going out and never has friends, he's gonna be fucking Mark Zuckerberg by the time he gets to college. Sandy's
Yeah.
already seen this shit. He's not letting it happen to his boy. So I
Yeah.
respect that.
No, for sure.
At the same time,
yeah.
and at the same time, Ryan's a good kid who just needs someone to like care about him and give him a bit of, a kick up the arse, and
Yeah.
he'll do good things. So Sandy's like not happy about it, but also understands that his wife kind of calls the shots.
Yeah, this is true. I mean, she is the one who, I guess, probably pays for the most of what they have. And she makes points that are like, you talk about how, you want people to, like, you want Seth to experience the outside world, but, like, you seem pretty comfortable in this bubble we have here in this suburban rich environment. And he's like, yeah, the thing is, I know what is outside of that bubble, and I know that there is other stuff out there and other types of people, and this is so far from everything that the world is. And
yeah, and it's like different. It's different for like Sandy because I mean he works in that world. So if at the weekends he wants to go surfing and he wants a nice car, fine, whatever. Like that's a bit different to never leaving the bubble at all. I mean, Kirsten works like for her dad.
Yeah.
And has clearly like grown up there. So it's not like she's seen outside.
Yeah, no, she barely has. Like, there's a brief reference earlier in the episode where her and Jimmy are talking, and they're talking about, like, the fun they had when they were, like, 22 or whatever, and, like, the stuff, like, she mentions at one point, like, what was it, like, living in the back of a van or something. I don't remember.
She was like in a mail van, and she was 22, and she was like, I smell like patchouli. What's wrong with patchouli, bitch?
Like, I'm guessing it was just like a very brief rebellious phase, and then she eventually realized, okay, well, my family is rich and can take care of me forever, even if I don't always agree with my dad, is just very like... And I mean, her even marrying Sandy in the first place was definitely something that her family didn't love for her to do, but like... she's still, regardless of that, is coming from that extreme wealth of, and she is very much in that bubble. Even if she had like a rebellious year where she went elsewhere, it's not the same when you have the whole time your family to fall back on. It's like Rent. Again, where it's like, I'm sorry, but like, how am I supposed to sympathize with these people for being poor when they have these, wealthy white families they can just fall back on if they need to? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. She can rebel as much as she wants because she's a pretty blonde lady with like a rich white family that's in America. You can pretty much do whatever you want at that point. So, her being salty about it was like, whatever. But yeah, so like Ryan is also cooking breakfast and she comes back in and he's like, I cook breakfast. My mum can't really cook. And she's usually passed out. She's usually passed out. And he's made breakfast for them and he's put it all on the table and then he goes. And it's so fucking sad.
It is really sad. He made like 2 full plates of bacon. He made enough bacon for like 15 people.
Yeah, he made loads of bacon. And he goes upstairs to say goodbye to Seth. He's back in his room. And Seth gives him a little map of the Pacific Ocean. It's like, if there's anywhere you want to go. And is saying that he'll come up and see him in Chino and they can still be friends and stuff. And it's sweet.
It's a sweet moment. Were you surprised at how small Seth's bed was?
It's tiny. His bedroom is like tiny considering how massive his house is.
He has like a single bed. Yeah.
Yeah. He has a single bed. He has like a normal fucking bedroom. It looks like the bedroom from Malcolm in the Middle or something. Like, it's not.
It's purple though, which is pretty sick.
That's fun.
I expected for a rich kid he would at least have a queen size bed to himself, but it's like a fucking single. It is the size of the bed that I had when I lived in a studio apartment. Yeah,
it's not big at all. I mean, my bedroom right now is bigger.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah, but it's sweet. And then what do they do? then they go home back. It's like repeating the credits, I guess.
Yeah.
Uh, they drive back to Chino, back to Ryan's house. And this is fucking sad. Okay, so
Yeah.
the place is like gutted empty. Um, his mum has just moved, and there's a note written on the counter. We don't even see what it says. Like, Ryan doesn't even say anything. Which is so fucked up. They just left and didn't tell him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're just gone. And like Sandy, well, he drops Ryan off, but like even though he doesn't like immediately come out of the car, he doesn't just drive away. Like he kind of just waits a bit, I guess, because I'm guessing probably just because, he actually cares if Ryan is, getting home safe and isn't immediately being kicked back out. And like after Ryan kind of leaves, yeah.
I was gonna say, like, he knocks on the door. I guess because he would be like, hi, your kid's been staying at my house for the past day or so,
Yeah.
You would expect to introduce yourself or to them to want to speak to you. So I guess that's also why he knocks on the door. And yeah, he cares that Ryan got home safe and isn't being immediately kicked back out.
Yeah, and Ryan has like fully left the door open too after getting home. It's not like he just got home, closed the door, and then Sandy came and knocked. Like he just left it wide open as he went in and checked and saw everything was empty. And then Sandy's kind of like, this seems a little fucked up. Maybe I should go check on him. And it's a really nice moment because Ryan is just like, well, I have literally nothing. Because like part of Kirsten's argument was, look, Sandy, I want him to go home because he has a family and it's not up to you to judge if they're a good enough family for him. Like, I know it sucks, but like, it's not your job to do that. But then like when he takes Brian home, it's like, well, he literally doesn't have a family at this point.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I mean, Kirsten's like, I don't know if it even makes sense from her. Like, he got punched in the face. And I get that, like, maybe before anything happens, Sandy should speak to his parents and explain, he's been staying with me. But, like, he got kicked out when he's a teenager. And yeah, he's been physically assaulted by someone who's meant to be a parental figure. So I would say that's fair game enough. And also it seems like his mom was, at the very least, emotionally abusive. I know she was kicking off because he'd just been arrested, and that's fair. That's like fair enough reason to be mad at him. But I don't know about that. I don't know if it's not his place particularly. I feel like he's a lawyer. He can make a sound judgment.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's one of those things where it's like, in the real world, if that happens, as the lawyer, you probably immediately find something else, like, I don't know, maybe foster care or something, but like, as we all know, like the foster system is pretty busted, and like, I don't think Sandy thinks that's acceptable, probably. Like, he doesn't say anything about it, but like, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, what, is he just going to be, tossed around this foster system until he turns 18? Or like, can we maybe give him a caring home at the moment where, he has a chance to thrive and maybe do well?
I think they do mention, like, because I think in the next few episodes, possibly just the next one, they mention, like, okay, well, obviously we need to get him into foster care, or like the official kind of, you need to go about this the state sanctioned way, at least. Like, you can't just be staying there because he needs to go to school, and they can't enroll they can't be his legal guardians. Like, they have the conversation about, should he be in foster care, can he stay with anyone else, blah blah blah. And obviously for the point of the show, they come to the agreement that Ryan can stay there indefinitely. However, yeah, I think they do have that conversation.
Yeah, they're gonna have to, especially since we know school is starting soon. Because in this episode, they talk about how, like, oh, they do this fashion show every year at the start of the school year. Seth, aren't you excited for the school year start? And Seth's just like, oh, what? Every day is a fashion show for these weirdos. What, am I just gonna see the same people again every day? And it's like, I mean, you're right, but also shut up.
Yeah. Yeah. So and like, as soon as Sandy sees that everything's empty, he just looks at Ryan and goes, "Well, come on then. Like,
well, let's go home. Yeah,
let's go home." Like, And then that's what the episode ends with, like,
Yeah.
Ryan going home with him again. Ugh, king shit.
I literally love him so much. Like, I fucking love Sandy Cohen. Just compassionate man. We love him. King, bushy eyebrows, the full hair, that beautiful face, and just, we love someone who cares about people genuinely. I can't wait to see the upcoming episodes. I'm so excited to watch this.
I know, it's like such the opposite of fucking. I mean, not that at the beginning we were excited, but I just feel like, no, I'm excited to watch this. Like, I can easily watch an hour of this, like, a week. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's a good show.
I'm excited about how many of our friends have not seen the OC before. Like, I know, like, Summer made the new art for our playlist, so shout out to Summer, but they also had never seen the OC before, and I'm like, I am just so excited. I think, like, I have a couple friends who were like, oh yeah, I think I'm gonna, like, go and watch the show along with the podcast or, like, rewatch it. So I'm very excited for people who have never seen it before, even if they're not watching the show along with the podcast, to just engage with it, because genuinely, this show has like 2 seasons worth of drama packed into, like, the first half of the first season.
Oh yeah.
And yeah.
Oh, we get into it. Like, it's a lot. And also, this is so much drama happens. There are so many people who, like, have gone on to, like, have more successful careers. Like, there's a lot of, like, celebrity guest stars. You know,
yeah,
like Chris Pratt is in this. Paris Hilton, the selfie is the autograph of the 21st century.
It is. We get Olivia Wilde eventually.
Oh my god, the bisexual storyline.
Yeah.
Oh, that'll be fun.
There's a lot. So we're going to see a lot of interesting cameos, some really, really interesting stories. I'm so excited for the drama. I was so invested in this when I watched it live. Like, I was so invested. There was so much going on. The first season of this show literally just, it kills me. It is so much. So yeah, I can't wait.
I recommend doing a watch along for this series. I think it's good. And what else was I going to say? Also, if you're watching this as a newbie, please keep an eye out for Ryan Atwood's choker.
Yeah.
Quite possibly the most iconic male jewelry item there is. Underrated as well. I'm obsessed with it. But he just has this black choker on, and, like, the white t-shirt and the motorcycle jacket. It's just perfect. Love it.
There is, yeah, it's just a lot. There's a lot to watch out for. I think one thing I'm going to do as we go through these episodes is, so there's this really, I don't want to say shitty website because I love it, but it looks kind of like an older kind of website from the 2000s called the ocmusic.co.uk. And it is just, if you want an episode by episode guide of the music from each episode, I'm going to be definitely looking at this after every single episode to, you know, go through all the songs, because the music in the OC is a pretty big part of it. They had, if you were not aware of it at the time, they put out multiple soundtracks. So there was, like, the OC Mix 1, the OC Mix 2, then there was, like, a Chrismukkah mix, and then there was, like, there were several. Yeah,
I'm so excited
soundtracks.
for Chris.
Same.
I am so excited for Chrismukkah. Chrismukkah is in my head, I do call, like, the holiday season, I'm like, oh, it's Chrismukkah.
Yeah. Also, I just went to look, and the track that was playing as Ryan carries Summer back into the house is Into Dust by Mazzy Star.
Oh, of course it's Mazzy Star. Yeah, it's great, and I'm excited for the little music breakdowns, because, yeah, I feel like, I don't know if it was this or Twilight that introduced me to Death Cab for Cutie, but either way,
It's
I'm
really
happy
good
with it. Yeah.
I think this is what introduced me to Death Cab for Cutie, but I didn't really get into them until after I stopped watching the OC. Like, this made me aware of, like, the sound of settling, but then I didn't really fully listen to, like, Plans or Transatlanticism until later. This website, the music one that I referenced, the ocmusic.co.uk, they have a very funny link on the side, because they have one that's like, oh, the links to all of the, you know, episode 1, episode 2, the music from each episode or from each season. And they have one link called the Seth Cohen Starter Pack. And these are the 5 essential items. The first one is Transatlanticism by Death Cab for Cutie. Seth's fave band and arguably their definitive album, a must-have for any Seth-obsessed fan. I mean, you know what? I love Transatlanticism, so I'm not going to say no to that. But, like, it's a lot.
So I had a look at this website, and they also have, like, a link to skinsmusic.co.uk.
Oh, love that.
The Skins soundtrack, I can't remember where, I think it might have been on iTunes or somewhere, but I definitely remember finding playlists of the songs from Skins and playing them at like top volume while my parents were at the house. Oh, so good.
That's incredible. Yeah, this really did introduce a lot of music to a lot of people. Like, I know that there's like, they play Rilo Kiley in season 2. There's, Sufjan. I know at one point they play For the Widows in Paradise for the Fatherless and Ypsilanti.
Yes.
Death Cab, obviously. There's the Shins. I have a lot of musical cues from this show just ingrained in my head. Like, there is a moment where they play Ride by The Vines, I want to say, in season 1, and just I just have that moment and that scene ingrained in my brain of exactly how it plays out. And yeah, there's a lot.
I mean, the most iconic OC music is, of course, What You Say. I mean, I know that's not the name of the song, but combined with the Jason Derulo, like, combine the meme with the Jason Derulo song, is all I can hear from it.
I genuinely forget what the song is actually called.
It's fucking
Hide and Seek. It's Hide and Seek.
Hide and Seek. Yeah. I can't get enough of it. It's so good.
The show one of the influences this had on me too was that there is a point in the show where Seth says he listens to emo music and like Death Cab for Cutie is his favorite band. So for a long time, my association with emo was like Death Cab for Cutie. That was like what I considered to be emo music, just entirely because of Seth Cohen.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he's like classic emo.
Yeah.
As in, before it got to like My Chemical Romance, but that's just kind of boring.
Yeah. It's kind of more just like soft boy music. I don't really know what to call it. But yeah, the soundtrack's a huge part of the show, so I'm super excited to talk about that even this episode hit me like a truck. So yeah. I kind of want to do rankings for the main 4 characters again, like we did in Sex and the City. But I feel like it's going to be the same. I feel like, you know how in Sex and the City, like Carrie was always like the bottom one? I feel like it's gonna be like that, except Seth is like always gonna be the bottom one.
Yeah, I mean, I would say for this episode, like Summer is at the bottom. But
Summer's the bottom for this one for me. Like, I think Ryan is the top, and then Marissa, then Seth, and then Summer for this one.
Definitely.
Yeah. And I think that's going to be pretty consistent most of the time, I think.
Yeah.
Except Seth and Summer getting switched at some points. But Ryan, I think, will be pretty consistently the top. Like, he punches people. That's what he does. Like,
he's tough. He's tough but soft.
And he, like, punches people who deserve it. So I think he's justified. It was funny, though, we were watching this episode, and it's just, like, Kirsten being like, Sandy, I hope you're right about him. Like, I hope he's good. And then we get to the party, and I'm just like, I sure hope Brian doesn't punch anyone here. But yeah, it's good. I'm very excited. We don't have any questions this week because this is our very first episode, but if you want to send us questions, we do have a Tumblr, which is still citygirlsmakedo.tumblr.com. I don't know if I'll change that at some point to like CGMD or County Girls or something, but right now it's still City Girls Make Do. Send us questions. You can also send us questions on Twitter if you want to, if you just want to like DM us or reply to any of our posts or anything. We are City Girls Make Do on Twitter still. And if you want to become a patron of us, we are patreon.com/CGMD. So that one did change to CGMD.
Yeah.
Because we are still CGMD we're both city girls and county girls. We're now county girls. We're beach girls. Like, West Coast, Best Coast. It is literally in my blood to say West Coast, Best Coast.
You can take the girl out of the sea, but not the sea out of the girl. We're still seagulls at heart, but like, we're just enjoying the sunshine.
Exactly. So if you want to follow us or subscribe to us on Patreon, that would be amazing. We are offering some very fun content for you to get to listen to if you donate to us on there. So at the $1 level, you're a haymower, and it gives you a special role in our Discord. It gives you access to any of our bonus content. So we've been doing the Keanu podcast for like a year now. We think we have 11 episodes out. So there's the backlog of that. We're doing those like about once every month. The most recent one that we did was John Wick. So that one was a wild ride. But yeah, we do those pretty often. And then you also get access to the few episodes of Mummy Mailbag that we did as well. And you also get access to a secret Discord channel of exclusive Looker and Nanu pics that you won't see anywhere else. So very exciting. If you're not in our Discord yet, we have the link on our Patreon, on our Tumblr, on our Twitter. Like, go to any of those. The link's in our bio there. If you're the $5 tier, then we love you. At that tier, you get access to all the $1 stuff, plus you get an even specialer Discord role, plus you get a shout out in the podcast every week. And also, if you want to submit stuff for me to read in Steve voice, I can read it in Steve voice for you, Miranda. Like, if you want me to say, welcome to the OC, bitch, Miranda. This is how it's done in the Orange County. Then I can do that for you. So submit those things for me. Maybe as we go on, there will be some new voice for me to be able to do.
I hope so. Or maybe I'll find a voice. Who knows?
Maybe you'll have a voice. And at the $10 level, you're Mr. Big Spender. You can do all the stuff from the previous tiers. Plus, you can also listen to us record live every week if you want to. So if you want to do that, then that would be amazing. And we would love you infinitely. So everyone who donates at the $5 level up gets a shout out. So shout out to Alex Shoup, Summer Geist, Jennifer Snyder, Matt Ribeiro, Jess Ayalachi, and Siberian Pine Hardwood. We appreciate it so much, and you keep us going every week.
Yes, thank you guys so much. We love you. Many kisses through the ether.
Yeah, I wish I could kiss you on the face for real. But unfortunately, space and pandemic prevent me from doing that. But you know that I'm sending those. I'm sending them to you physically and psychically. So,
if you feel your forehead ruffle, that's me.
That's exactly what that is. We love you, and we love all our listeners. Thank you so much for tuning in. Really excited to keep going and bring you along on this Orange County journey with me. Every single time they say OC on the show, I'm literally just thinking Arrested Development Boys. Don't call it that. But
I wonder if anyone actually, like, from the OC actually calls it that. Or it sounds like,
know.
Oh yeah, I'm from the Orange.
Oh yeah, I'm from the Orange. I have no idea. I know that when I went to Disneyland when I was like in grade 8 or so, because Disneyland is in the Orange County, I guess, in that region.
Because for some reason, I always thought Chino was where Disneyland was, but it's not far away.
Chino's like a little bit more inland than the Orange County. But when I went to Disneyland when I was like in grade 8, I got a shirt in California that said OC on it, and it was like, I was like, oh yeah, like the OC, the show. And I was so excited. I loved it.
And now you're like the original character.
Yes. Now it's, original character, do not steal. All right. Well, that's it for our episode this week. But we'll be back soon with episode 2, The Model Home. And hopefully we get to punch more rich kids.
Woo woo. Okay.
Woo woo.
Bye, gamers.
Bye, gamers. Mohe every day.
Fuck cops.
And fuck cops. And kiss Keanu square on the lips.
Mwah.
Mwah.
We got more bounce in California than all y'all combined. We got more bounce in California. We like to party all the time. We got more bounce in California where the hustlers all reside. We got more bounce in California.
me for a while, but it's time to propagate.